afternoon, YouTube. Review on the Savage Mark II GXP. Let's try and make this as painless as possible. So if you've been following the videos, you'll know that I did have to change the factory mounts for the scope rings, so the mounts on the receiver here, to what's called Weaver Model 25s. And they work, okay? And they're only like $7 a piece, so hey, bonus. Anyway, definitely helped. Way better. Because they actually fit the radius properly. Anyway, we're on the factory scope that came with it, factory scope rings. Dialed her in yesterday at the range, 25 yards, because that's what I'm shooting at anyway, so that's what we got to dial for. Standard crosshairs, nothing special, so there's mill dots. I love mill dots, or even the slashes will do. But anyway, it's a 3x9x40. What do you want, right? It's called Weaver, is the name on the scope. Definitely count on it being made in China, but it really doesn't matter. Made by Bushnell, though. And this is something I did find out. They said it was a 50-yard parallax on the Google search, but it acts more like a 25, so I ain't complaining here. It works fine. Well, a crap load of ammo later, and 9 hours on the range yesterday. Not just with this, though. Other guns, too. Okay. Didn't spend that much time on this one. But I went through a good portion of my ammo. At least 15 different ones out of a crap load that I have. I'm a hoarder. What can I say? You got to have ammo choices because you got to find the right ammo for your gun. So, buy lots. And I still got to buy more. Turns out this thing loves Eley contact a lot. Okay, now I am getting like basically about a dime size group, maybe slightly smaller, but not by much. And to me, that's good enough for at least for now. Because, yeah, money's getting kind of subterranean. Okay, and I just ordered 4 more boxes of Eley contact today from Ollie's armory that's in town here for me, which is like 3 minutes up the road. Anyway, well, maybe about 5. But anyway, you get the idea. The gun is very nice. Love the smooth, the bolt action on this is very, very smooth. Especially when you lubricate stuff, kids. It does need a massive clean, though, because I did go through a lot of ammo yesterday. So it's going to take me a bit to clean her up. I'm going to have to pull the bolt out, you know, the usual junk. Because I didn't clean any of my guns except, I think, one last night. Because I had a bad headache and my shoulder is still hurting like a mother from my shotgun. So anyway, but really, really nice gun. Very impressed with it, especially now that I found an ammo that it actually really likes a lot. I don't know how much Eley contact is going to fall apart at 50 and 100 yards. That's something to experiment with another day. My main key focus right now is getting this thing set up for 25 yards for the grouse hunting trip we're going on in September. So between now and then, I'm not going to screw with it. I'll probably shoot it some more between now and then, obviously, but I ain't screwing with it other than the 2 clicks I have to go to get that moved over just a smidge, right? And so shooting at targets that are a quarter-sized bullseye and getting like basically a dime or just a snitch below, I'd say that's gonna have to be good enough for me. I mean, it's not an air gun where I'm used to getting, you know, dead perfect center, you know, and never missing, right? Oh, I'm not gonna miss with this thing too easily either, but I'm not gonna get bullet after bullet in the same hole. I mean, come on, it's a $400 gun, and we're dealing with, you know, some inconsistencies from bullet to bullet, as we always see being chronographed on YouTube channels, and so far no ammo technically out there even runs the advertised speeds. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes, well, most times definitely less. But very rare do we ever see the advertised speed. So that does affect being able to get consistency from one to another, or one batch to another kind of thing, right? But it is what it is, and we all just say, okay, well, at least we're getting in the bullseye and we're at a dime. We're going to kill whatever we're aiming at that we're hunting, so what the hell, all right? Anyway, if you want more precision for hole after hole, I guess you're going to have to spend about $5,000 or $10,000 on a gun, which I'm not an Olympic training shooter, so I don't need that kind of accuracy, right? But it is still a damn accurate gun, and it's definitely going to get the job done for you and for me and anybody else who owns this one. Now this is about 400 bucks Canadian. It does come with one 10-shot mag, 10-round mag. The scope is, like I said, it's a 3x9x40 that comes with this model. It's a hardwood stock on here with a walnut finish. Stippling is really nice down at the grip down here as well as up front, which is really nice. Bipod is not included, obviously. Okay, sling mounts at least are, which is nice. No support for open sights. This is a scope-only model gun, so if you don't even like the scope that comes with it, put something different on it. Of course, I did try that, and, well, I learned a lesson. Don't buy a $100 scope from Amazon made by UUQ, because it may or may not work for you. In my case, it went and no more windage control. Elevation still worked, though. But, you know, for comfort level and for reach, this thing is really nice. I really like it. So I'm quite happy with the rifle for the $400 I spent on it. It's really good. Now, you might be wondering about the mark, the sticker here. That's to mark that this is the original mag. This mag so far has seen more than 500 rounds through it, and it is still holding well, because I have heard some complaints about this style of, you know, magazine having issues, and I haven't experienced none of those issues whatsoever. But I wanted to mark it because I did buy a spare 10-shotter, so I didn't want to mix them up, but I also have a 5-shotter as well. So, and on the trip, I'm taking all of them with me. So this way I can have 2 more in the pocket, 1 in the gun, and we're ready to go. So I am going to try this for grouse, see how well I do. Failing that, I will have a shotgun definitely as a backup. Probably 2, my 410 and my 12 gauge. And the 12 gauge is interesting, but that's for the 12 gauge video, okay? Otherwise, the safety's nice. It's just a, you know, flip safety, forward, backwards. So forward it's hot, backwards it's safe. That's all there is to it. Trigger pull is definitely heavy on this thing. I would definitely like to upgrade the trigger down the road. And I found that there is actually a trigger I can get that's also adjustable. Now, it's not going to be the AccuTrigger, but it is kind of like an AccuTrigger, but without that little flappy thing in front. But it's adjustable for, you know, how soon it lets go in the sear and the amount of travel, etc. And I'm thinking that might be a good upgrade in the future. So next year when I actually have a little bit of money to spend in next spring, because yeah, right now, like I said, money is subterranean. And I still got my trip to do in September, so I got to watch what I spend on what. The finish on this, it almost feels like powder coating. It's not bluing, so it's going to be very durable and very rust resistant, which is really an important thing, right? We don't want to have our guns rust up, and even the receiver is coated the same way. So it does cut down a lot of maintenance for us, especially with the bluing thing. And, you know, bluing can vary how good a quality it is from one manufacturer to the other, but, you know, it is. Well, okay. If you want the best experience with a bipod on this gun, rip the damn rubbers off, because they're going to cause you more headache than you could imagine. And I had nothing but a nightmare with them being on the bipod, so I took them off. It's not harming the finish on the gun by not having them there, so, you know, basically, don't be a wuss about it. Just rip them off, and you're going to get a really nice, even balance, you know, for left to right. It's going to be a lot better for you, okay? And I think a little bit more secure, too. So, now the bipod, of course, I only have it on there for, you know, sighting in the gun, and if I'm doing target shooting from the bench, that's when I'm going to use a bipod. But out hunting, I'm not using a bipod. Don't need it, okay? You're not laying on the ground freaking prone to go shoot a grouse, you know, or a rabbit or a squirrel. You're standing up and going kapang type of thing, right? Anyway, but otherwise, yeah, I love the gun. I think it's great. It's a fantastic. Best 400 bucks I think I could have spent on my first 22, because this is actually my first, well, this is my first one I bought. It's not actually my first 22. My buddy did give me, actually no, let me think about this. Yeah, this is my first, because first he gave me the shotgun. My buddy gave me a single shot shotgun, and it had to stay at my other friend's house until my pal came in. And then I got this one, and then I made a trip to my buddy's place, and he gave me the Russian USSR TOZ 8M. So this, it actually is my first official 22, okay? And one of which I also bought, period. So anyway, yeah, great gun. And I do have other 22s I've also purchased and done deals with, so. But I like it. You may not be a bolt action fan, maybe you are. Um, you know, people who shoot bolt action, who have also shot semi, also know that a bolt action is like a million times more accurate than any semi-auto out there, because you're not dealing with the BS of a semi-auto going bang, you know, and you know, ejecting and loading the next round, which can actually throw you off a bit, you know, even with a bipod. And we're going to be talking about that particular rifle in another video, because it's actually, it might have to end up going back to Savage because it's got some issues. Anyway, what do you want? It happens. But this thing is actually working fine. The scope is working great, so for now this scope can stay. I have nothing bad to say about the scope, other than that I've always hated Bushnell because I've never had good luck. But and this one's made by Bushnell as well, but they just call it Weaver. But it works, and it's working fine. It's not my Mil-Dot Wonder Toy. It doesn't have AO. You know, it doesn't go past a 9x zoom, but at least it's got some. You know what I mean? So it's a scope, and it will work for you. Okay, bottom line. And I still have lots of travel left with elevation and windage, both up and down. So yeah, so even if I go at longer ranges, I got plenty of adjustment room, so I'm not worried about it. Okay. But I will have to get used to the fact there is no Mil-Dot, so to sight in at much closer than 25 yards is going to be interesting, and a little further away also interesting, because I have a pretty good idea how Mil-Dots work, where this is like those thick bars that we normally see with just the middle part of the crosshair being very fine kind of wire, and it's like, but my aim point, so I guess I could still use the crosshair, obviously, but now I got to aim a little bit differently depending on the range. So I'm going to be doing some practicing to figure that out too between now and September, because I need to know how that's going to react, right? Anyway, other than that, I definitely give the rifle a real easy 4.5 out of 5 for this thing, even though I did have to change the mounting plates. I'm not really going to ding it that bad, because that's not something that happens all the time. I was just the lucky kid that ended up with, you know, not perfectly done form fitting to the radius. Most guys, they don't have an issue. This is one that did. I mean, it's not because it's made in Canada. It's not who makes it. This can happen to any firearm from any company, no matter what the price. You know, we do see that there's a certain level of things that can go wrong in manufacturing. But at least it wasn't the barrel or the crown or anything else really super critical. It's just a pair of mounts that I replaced for $14 for a pair. And the new ones work absolutely spectacular. So if you are having some issues, then maybe look at changing those mounts, and you'll be fine. And if you get this 64 or the Mark II-G, it comes with open sights, which is a difference. But it doesn't come with the mounts, but it is tapped and drilled. Just pick up a set of those Model 25 Weavers and slap them on, slap on a scope, and you're golden, right? This thing, though, does not support any open sights whatsoever. So, but anyways, I'm not sure if I'm going to have to look up muzzle brakes for this, see if they have any, just for giggles. It's a looks thing for me on something like this, right? But if they do, they do. If they don't, oh well. Maybe I'll ask my buddy to make me a muzzle brake for it, because he is a machinist, so I don't mind paying him to do it. So I'll have to ask him next time I talk to him. Can you make me a muzzle brake for this? Anyways, yeah, nice gun though. Really love it. I think you would too. It is an adult-sized gun, just so that you're aware. So, you know, if you are thinking buying this for your teenager, make sure that they can hold it properly with proper clearance, etc. You know, you don't want to buy a firearm that's too big, or they'll never be able to shoot it, and they'll just get tired of it real fast. So, but I would say, you know, maybe somebody in their late teens to definitely the adult size, depending on your body. Even some adults are not going to fit this thing, but most of us will. So whatever, always just hold it and see if you like the comfort level, and you're good to go. In the meantime, I think 4.5 out of 5 is good. The price for 400 Canadian, fantastic on that note. Comments below. See ya.